We can move back and forth in any other coordinate. Up and down, left and right, forward and back, but we're stuck in time. We can't move forward or backwards in time arbitrarily.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying, if you want to walk forward and walk backward, you can walk forward a little bit, or keep walking forward, keep walking backward. You can jump up, you can go down, right? But you can't, unfortunately, do it in time. You can't say, I'll just go backward in time a little bit, go forward. So that's a dimension that we live in. We live in the 3 dimensions. We can go this way and 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 this way arbitrarily. But in terms of the dimension of time, we cannot move arbitrarily. We can only move forward. We are going to be looking at a video. So I find short videos to be a great tool for learning words and phrases, and I would encourage you to use videos that are generally under 5 minutes. TED Talks can be great. TED Ed videos can be great. Just to see, to hear words in context. When you learn words in context, you can use them, or you're at least more likely to be able to use them. They'll stick better, right? So we're going to be looking at and learning from a video with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Now, the topic of the video, I almost think doesn't matter as much as the language. You have to pay attention to the language, pick out the stuff you don't know, make sure you're paying attention to the context. What's around it? How's it being used? How could I use it? And if you keep the context in mind, it's going to be more likely to stick. It's going to be more likely that you'll be able to use it in the future. So let's do this. I'm going to show the video. We're going to go through it slowly and pick out stuff as we go. And I have a word bank that we're going to be using. The word bank will be here, okay? And we're going to be going back and forth between our video and our word bank and writing words down in the word bank over here. All right? All right. Okay, so let's hop over to our video first. There we go.
One of the famous quotes is, time is defined to make motion look simple.
Okay.
Because you cannot describe motion without some reference to time.
Right.
And so you define it so that motion is something we can describe easily with equations and things. So that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's a very functional answer for the physicist.
Yeah.
I also
Pay attention.
Functional, describe easily with equations and things. So that's kind of a cop-out answer.
Did you hear that? That's kind of a cop-out answer. What is he saying there? That is kind of a cop-out answer. What the heck is a cop-out? Now, for this first one, I'm going to be giving you the sort of way to do this, and then for the others, we won't, okay? So what is... You know what? Let's use ChatGPT for this. I've been using ChatGPT a lot, but let's just use it for this. So let's hop over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to just ask the question, what is a cop-out? And I'm going to write it as 2 words, and we'll see what we get here. Question mark. Oh, sometimes if you have the window open for a while, you got to refresh it, and then usually it's okay. Okay, here we go. What is a cop-out? Question mark. A cop-out is a term used to describe an evasion of or avoidance of responsibility or commitment. It can also refer to an excuse or justification that is used to avoid doing something or facing a challenge. For example, if someone makes a promise to do something and then fails to follow through, they might be accused of copping out. Now, I want you to notice something. I said I wrote it as 2 words. It has corrected that by writing it with the hyphen between. A cop-out, usually a noun, will have a hyphen between them if it's two separate words. Well, fairly often, okay? So pay attention to that too. If you spell things wrong, you'll often get a correction in ChatGPT, which is pretty cool. If they give an excuse for why they couldn't do it, the phrase is often used in a negative way to criticize someone for not taking responsibility for their actions or for not being willing to put in the effort required to achieve something. So that is really interesting, I think, as an example. But let's go a little further. Okay, so let's now go back here and say, could you give me some examples of the word cop out used in a sentence? Sure, here are a few examples of the word cop out used in a sentence. I'm sorry I couldn't make the meeting, but I had a really good excuse. My car broke down on the way. I'm not just using that as a cop out, I promise. I know you said you would help me study for the exam, but when the time came, you bailed on me. That's such a cop out. I'm tired of always making excuses for why I can't do things. It's time to stop copping out and just face my responsibilities head on. I can't believe he's blaming his poor performance on the fact that he didn't get enough sleep. That's such a cop-out. He should have planned better and made sure he was well rested for the presentation. So we have here some great examples. So let's go over here to the board and let's just write down here cop-out. Now I'm just showing you that process, and I'm not saying you have to use ChatGPT, but I love ChatGPT's way of interacting. It feels more like asking a person rather than going to the free dictionary and just searching cop-out, getting the results, which is great, and looking through the examples. You can interact, and that interaction is critical if you want to have that real life sort of back and forth. And I think to get more examples and to sort of poke at what you learn. And the more you poke at something, the easier it's going to stick in your mind. Okay, so we learned that cop-out is one word made of two words with a hyphen between them, and we know it means avoiding responsibility. And if you want, you could say cop-out, and it means, maybe we have a little phrase here, that was such a cop-out, bro. Okay, you could write an example like that just to remind yourself of how it's used. We're not going to do this for everyone. I'm just showing you the process. We used discovery from Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about time. We heard a word. We isolated it. Okay, cop out. We pay attention to how it's used. Then we go over to ChatGPT. We ask it some questions. We get the sense for the meaning. We look at some examples. Then we put it in a word bank somewhere. We put it on a flashcard. We store it in our minds, in our memory palaces. This is how you learn new stuff, friends and neighbors. This is how it's done, okay? Let's listen back to that cop-out. Listen for it.
And things. So that's kind of a cop-out answer, but
kind of a cop-out answer. Using it as an adjective in that case. So he's saying that's an answer, but it's not really answering the question, but it is an answer.
it's a very functional answer for the physicist.
Yeah.
I also think of time as this prison. Time makes us all a prisoner of the present, forever transitioning from our own past into an unknown future. And that's particularly disturbing to me because we can move back and forth in any other coordinate. You know, up and down, left and right, forward and back, but we're stuck in time. We can't move forward or backwards in time arbitrarily.
Okay, arbitrarily. Great. Let's look that up. I can't resist. I have to do it. Can you please explain what arbitrarily means? Okay, now we get an explanation. The word arbitrarily means acting or being done without any apparent justification or reason. It suggests that something is being done capriciously or in a way that is not based on any logical or objective criteria. It can be used to describe decisions, actions, or judgments that seem to be made randomly or impulsively, rather than being based on careful consideration or established rules or standards. For example, you might say that someone was arbitrarily chosen to be team leader if it seemed that the choice was made without any clear reason or criteria. Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying to move arbitrarily. So If you want to walk forward and walk backward, you can walk forward a little bit, or keep walking forward, keep walking backward. You can jump up, you can go down, right? You can do that arbitrarily, any direction you want to go. But you can't, unfortunately, do it in time. You can't say, I'll just go backward in time a little bit, go forward. So that's a dimension that we live in. We live in the 3 dimensions. We can go this way and 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 this way arbitrarily. But in terms of the dimension of time, we cannot move arbitrarily. We can only move forward. We're locked in the present. So arbitrary, arbitrarily. Very interesting. Let's pop that into our word bank. Okay, arbitrary. And we could put as a form here, arbitrarily. And let's say the team captain, I like that example, was chosen arbitrarily. Or it was, if we wanted to practice that, it was an arbitrary decision. Okay? So we've got arbitrary, arbitrarily, and cop-out, all from this very short video so far. Let's see what else we can learn. And if anything else sticks out at you, then look those up. But, we're just going to learn a few from this.
So that coordinate has a kind of, but we're stuck in time. We can't move forward or backwards in time arbitrarily.
We can't move forward or backwards in time arbitrarily.
So that coordinate has a kind of a fundamental difference from the other 3. Now, my professional ancestors, the earliest astronomers, basically invented timekeeping, all right? So all measures of time historically were derived from cosmic rhythms.
All measures of time historically were derived from cosmic rhythms. If there's anything in there you'd want to pick out, pick it out. Measures of time derived. Okay, well, maybe we should look up derived. Can you explain what derived means and give me some examples? Okay. The word derived means to come or be obtained from something else. It can be used to describe the origin or source of something, or to explain how something is obtained or developed. So here are a few examples of how the word derived can be used. The word television is derived from Greek words tele, and meaning far, and vision, meaning sight. The company's profits are derived from the sale of its products. The concept of evolution is derived from the observation of how living organisms change over time. The new drug was derived from a compound that was originally found in a rare type of mushroom. The theory of relativity was derived from the work of Albert Einstein. Well, maybe it was the work of Albert Einstein. In each of these examples, the word derive is used to describe something that has been obtained from something else, a source of information, a process, or an idea. I think example 5 is not great because the theory of relativity was the work of Albert Einstein. It wasn't derived from the work of Albert Einstein. It was the work of Albert Einstein. So that's a fundamental difference. But if you say the drug, that's a great example, was derived from a compound that was originally found in a rare type of mushroom, the compound of the mushroom is not the drug. The drug comes from the compound. It's not just take the mushroom and grind it up and bink, Bob's your uncle, there's the drug. It's that we get it, the basic component or ingredient, or a key component or ingredient, from the mushroom, from the compound in the mushroom, right? So maybe from this lesson, you might derive insights about how to learn vocabulary. Maybe it's not exactly what I said, but when you heard me say it, you got some ideas that started your wheels turning, and so you derived a way of learning vocabulary and phrases that works for you, that is not exactly what I said, but is derived from it. So that would be, I think, a very good way to use it. So let's pop over to the blackboard and write down the word derived. Derive, derived, and make a little example here. The drug was derived, let's change was to is, from mushrooms. as all good drugs are. Allegedly. All right. Back to it.
So today we would say the rotation of the Earth, but in the day it was the movement of the sun.
Yeah.
So that gave you a day, and then the sun's position on the sky throughout the days differed, and temperatures changed, so that gave us the seasons. And then, of course, back then it was the sun doing all this, but we would learn that we rotate and we revolve around the sun. So that took really long to figure out, disturbingly long. I mean, only like 400 years ago.
I just note how he's using the word disturbing. We often know the word disturbing as a regular adjective, but disturbingly long is using it as a modifier for the adjective long. It's a great modifier.
So what it tells you is that you can keep track of time even though you have no freaking idea what's going on. Because all that matters to you is that things repeat.
Yeah.
If you have something that repeats predictably, then you have created a timekeeping mechanism.
If you have something that repeats predictably, you have a timekeeping mechanism. And I'm sure many of you will know what a mechanism is, but let's do that one. Can you explain the word mechanism and give me some examples? The word mechanism refers to a device or system that performs a specific function or to the way in which something works or operates. It can be used to describe anything from a simple machine like a lever or pulley to a complex system of interacting parts like a car engine or a computer. Here are a few examples of how the word mechanism can be used. The mechanism of a clock is made up of gears and springs that work together to keep time. The mechanism of the human body's immune system is designed to defend against diseases and infections. The mechanism of a lock consists of a key, a latch, a bolt that work together to keep a door secure. The mechanism of a camera shutter controls the amount of light that enters the lens and reaches the film or digital sensor. The mechanism of a computer's operating system controls how the hardware and software components of the machine work together to perform tasks. Okay? So pretty good, pretty solid. So the mechanism, I would add to that the mechanism of a society. You can speak about things that are not physical objects, right? The political mechanism, you could say, the political mechanism, your emotional mechanism, right? You can talk about things that are more abstract using the word mechanism too, just to add a bit of context. Please don't take any offense, ChatGPT. I'm sorry, I'm just giving a little more context here. So we might add one more word here. I might say mechanism, and I'm just going to do, because I want to, political. Write political in your mind. A political mechanism. The mechanism of an operating system or a clock or a lock or something like that. So again, here's the process. This is how you use ChatGPT and videos and notes to learn words and phrases. That's it. You have a source, keep it short, 5 minutes or less. Pick out 3 or 4 things that are new from that. Pay attention to the context. Search them in ChatGPT or somewhere else, but ChatGPT is very interactive, so it's going to make it stick a little better. Make sure you've got some examples to look at so you can get not just the meaning, but the sense for it. How is it used? Make a sentence on your own or a couple, make it stick, and then start using it. In conversations, can you find places to use it so that it fits naturally? This is how you learn English words and phrases so that you can actually use them. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and also feel free to check out my full courses, including my free course, Natural English Conversations, in the links in the description.